allow myself to deviate too much, so that I can bring it to a proper conclusion. Then we can work out the details in future. Okay. So, if we want to understand this very issue that prevents me in formulating a field theory. Now, by field theory, I mean a quantum field theory. Classical field theory of gravity, I know. There are so many, I do not even know it so much, because there are many great general relativists around in the world who are doing great work. And you see, whenever you take these coefficients of G mu nu, the dependence of G mu nu, also on time, in particular, then you start describing the cosmology, just for all the younger students, for the information purposes. You can describe neutron stars, boson stars, black holes, even without that. Even if you make it function of the remaining coordinates, okay, let us say r or r theta and phi, but not necessarily, you can still describe, because it's still gravity in curved space-time manifold, okay. But for doing cosmology, you must have time dependence of these coefficients.
So in G mu nu, do we have the dependence of gravitational potential on other components of G mu nu? Although we have a dependence on G naught naught in a weak gravitational fields, 1 minus 2 phi.
Let me explain. I was not in a mood to write too much, but let me write.
X nu d tau d tau.
Okay, so let me go to this basic point. How do you write E2 space E3 space E4 space, and now I put W equal to ICT, and then this becomes minus C square dt square plus dx square. This is M4 space. This is Minkowski, 4-dimensional Minkowski space. Here, remember that these guys, I can also write it in other coordinate systems, like dr square plus r square d theta square plus r square sin theta square, just for spherical symmetry, okay? This is for spherical symmetry. Now, supposing, so this is also M4 space, okay? Now, let me introduce something called A, B, C, and D, and let me make them functions of, if I have r theta phi, so let me make it r and t, for example, okay? R and t phi. I can make them functions of, in general, I can make these A, etc. as functions of x mu, okay? All of them, all the four, x0, x1, x2, x3. x1, x2, x3 could be r theta and phi, okay, in spherical polar coordinates. You could choose any coordinates that you like. Spherical symmetry goes well with describing gravity. So, but even for the simplest thing, like you consider them just as functions of r and t or r and theta, you see. So, this is going to have this G mu nu.
Yeah.
Okay. This is so. It's your choice. In general, all of them could be made functions of x mu, and you have the choice to there is no uniformity needed. You can choose all of them 16 to be of different 16 kinds.
So, okay.
Okay, perhaps that answers your question.
Yes.
But if that helps you, you can choose a particular dependence on potential, gravitational potential energy, for example. No
So
problem.
it means that gravitational potential doesn't only affects G naught naught, but it can influence other component also.
Of course, of course, of course. What is gravitational potential energy? Gravitational potential energy of a mass, if I, gravitational potential energy G is minus Gm by mod x. Okay. So, this is the gravitational energy, call it by, no, not G, call it by phi, okay? Call it by phi, okay? So this is M sitting at the origin.
Okay.
M is sitting at the origin, okay? And then the potential energy, because it's symmetrical, it's absolute mod of x. So it's symmetrically, and this is actually is precisely the point that distinguishes when you plot potential energy curves for a let us say for an object like a black hole. So for a black hole, this would be the mass would be 10 to the power several, I don't know, 10 or whatever. Here, let us say just the solar mass. Just if you plot the one, you should actually do it.
Yes,
Once I was traveling in the train and I tried to plot this curve. Okay, so you put G equal to 1 and you also put M equal to 1. And then take X equal to, let us say, 1. Then take X equal to 2. Then take X equal to 3. Okay, and make it plot. Now for M, you make it 100 M. Okay, or 10 M, just 10 M. You will see the difference. Now the bell would go like this. When you make it 100, it will go further down, very deep. Then you cannot imagine how to plot it. Okay, because you will run out of your graph paper, whatever paper you have on which you are working. Okay. So it's a very interesting, very educative. I did it myself in the last 1 year itself, or last 1 or 2 years itself. While I was traveling in a bus and I tried to see how to plot it. What really happens? Every book says that for a black hole, this well is very, very deep. For sun or earth, it's very tiny. Why? Just this is the basic definition. Okay. So you have full freedom, and therefore you have model building. You have 16 components. You choose the way you like. So you can go by the literature, how others do it, and you can invent a new model of yourself. No problem. Try to see, but it should conform. Your predictions must conform with the other thing, standard things. Otherwise, it would be some khichdi, okay, of no interest. Some khichdi has to be good for your stomach. Okay, so try to do that. Okay. And so perhaps I have answered your question?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And then let me get back to my point. I have forgotten what I was talking about. Okay, well, perhaps maybe I was talking about the development of the field theory, which means the quantum field theory. Now the question is, I'm no longer talking about the construction of classical field theory of gravity. That I say is well known. Only for ds square, I have to take the first top equation. That's all, finished. My first equation describes gravity, field theory of gravity. Because this G mu, which is a function of x mu, this describes, so you see, this is the point. You read very often in the review articles, in the textbooks, you read some very philosophical statements. You try to think, this is how I used to do it. Mass tells the energy,
Space.
mass tells space-time how to bend. Space-time tells mass how to move. You see, it's so simple. It's so simple. You just can write down the Einstein equation, very well known Einstein equation. So, this is my left hand side. This is the term that depends purely on the geometry of the space-time. It's determined entirely by the geometry of the space-time. Okay. And the right hand side, T mu nu, is the energy momentum tensor. It's determined purely by the presence of mass or something somewhere. Okay, some mass or energy or something somewhere. So, and this precisely was the point with which Mr. Einstein was struggling, and David Hilbert and Marcel Grossman, they were able to help him out how to put this equation. This is the covariant form. So covariant is a very secular, very standard requirement. You see, if there is some covariant law, it would hold also in Nainital, it would also hold in New Delhi or in New York or anywhere. Okay, if it's not covariant, then Newton's laws for you would be different than the laws that would be valid in Delhi. But if you can describe the things in covariant form, then they would hold for all times, everywhere, for all space-time. Okay.
How about cosmological constant?
So cosmological constant appears here. I have one more term here, minus lambda g mu. Okay. So this term is, I would count it on the right hand side.